So one of the things I'm going to have to do here is promote RVA's new site, which is set up to host recorded games. It's got a few utilities on it as well. There's a program that can create a map pool from maps that you select, and there's one that fixes recorded games. Because some recorded games get broken because of like desync issues, just issues with playing them back and stuff. I think on my horde of recorded games, it's fixed like 200 or so of them and made them sort of watchable again. So what you can do on this site is we've uploaded pretty much as much recorded games as we can muster over the last 20 years or so. If you've got any yourself, feel free to add them there. There's a few sort of categories that you can do. You can sort this by actual uploader. So at the moment there does seem to just be myself and RVA here. You can choose the game type. So this can really help you find a game that you might be looking at just to sort of break down and learn, or just for a bit of nostalgia if you were featured in that. You can set the duration of it, the number of players, so if it's a 1v1, a 2v2, 2v3, 3v3, 4v4, 4v3, etc. And you can actually search certain people's names. So as you can see, I've searched some names, some of my names there, and it does come up with them. So I could actually just put in Liam, and I think RV must have coded a lot of my nicknames as well, because they do show up under Liam. But yeah, it really helps just to find games. And you can open up the chat logs here and see, what was said in the games, etc. And really get a sense of, how long that game went on, what sort of happened with it. Shows you the maps. It's a really cool tool, and it's going to help me a lot with what I'm doing here as well. Because what I've decided to do is maybe just set up little save games with the recorded games that I want to go through, just to make things easier rather than searching by date through a list of 1,300. So I hope you can all check that out, and hopefully you can make some use of that and look at some games in your own time rather than just watching my videos as well. Okay. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. This is another video from me. We're going to start off our sort of strategy series here, and we're going to start with rushing. It's one of the most basic sort of strategies that you can do in this game. Early aggression, getting that damage in. So I'm first going to show you just a sort of basic sort of layout and how to set yourself up to actually do it, and then we'll look at it being practiced in some recorded games. So as I was speaking there, I've forgotten how to play the fucking game. I'm going to lure this dude back over. I'm probably going to house these. Oh, there's a crazy amount of Rontas as well. So we'll lure that over so we can kill it next to the command center, eat it there a lot quicker. Not played in ages. All of what you should see right now is just muscle memory. Bit of an idle command center because of that chat. Anyway, we're just looking for the sort of basic layout of how to do a rush, right? So, infrastructure, how to lay out the economy, the sort of timings, and what we do with the actual troopers themselves as well. So we're just getting our food going, and then we'll move on to carbon, and then we'll start building up now that surplus of carbon. I'm going to lure one of these Rontos over it. And I'm going to put the scout on automatic scouting now. Just shift clicking. These are quite a far away. I hope this brave warrior survives. That's actually horrible. Right. So there's our opponent. It's a decent enough distance. There's a lot of parameters that you'd want to consider before you actually commit yourselves to a rush. Mainly distance of the map, terrain, how can they wall their base, how can you wall your base, etc. But most of the time you might not have to worry about that unless you're at sort of a more advanced level. Because even if your opponent is going T3, there are certain things that you can do, and I might talk about those later, to sort of minimise the damage that they could do to you, and to sort of stall things out as well so that you can catch up in terms of tech. Because when you commit to building troopers and committing all that carbon and food, you're not really setting yourself up to be in the most tech-heavy position. But what you do have are tools and units that you can use to stall and harass your opponent. We might see some of that in the videos that we cover. The recorded games we look at afterwards. So just sort of luring these out one at a time. There's probably enough workers on the carbon. Shame about their AI going to like the furthest nodes known to man, but you know, it is how it is. I'll end up clicking carbon and losing his food. So we've got that sort of surplus of carbon built up, and we do have a lot of food going forward. We've still got another Ronto to eat, so we should be fine. We don't need a food processor as of yet. So we're going to build that troop center now. So it's always troop center, power core, and then troop center. That way, even if shit hits the fan, you've got a troop center that's powered, because unpowered it's just going to have like the worst production known to man. Don't want that. So we're just going to use one worker to do that, because it takes a bit of time. And we want the other ones to be gathering resources. Please don't. Thank you. And by the time he's done, we've got the power, the resources for the power core. And we should be able to tech up. Now we don't want all these workers on food anymore, because we're looking for sort of almost a one-to-one split in our resources now, because we're going to be producing lots and lots of troopers. So we're going to go to T2. I don't know what's going on with that worker. Very strange. I probably should have found more nurse. Whatever. Get that second troop center. And once that's building, we can start building up our troopers as we tech. We've certainly got plenty of food to get some upgrades when we tech. We've still got the stew back to eat as well, which is good. There will be a short time where we need to just have a little bit of concern about our food production when we make a sort of a transition into farms. Or maybe there's a Yopis over there. So what you might not consider, and what we're going to do, is we're actually going to build up about 8 troopers, because that's enough to sort of one-shot workers. And then we're going to send them over, and then we're going to upgrade them, right? While we're doing that, we can spare the resources to go and get our food production going over there. Close enough. So while we're doing that, we're going to upgrade them, send them across, and upgrade our economy. I just sent them over because they were closer. The idea here is to start building up small groups of troopers from the get-go and using them to harass your opponent. I think that's the best applicability of this, but there are times when you're going to have to bunch them up if your opponent's doing the same and he's going to just sort of crash into you. But you can mitigate that kind of stuff by having 2 turrets at your carbon. So you say that basically one-shot a worker. That way you can sort of patrol around their farms, snipe workers, etc. But anyway, it would just be like, we'd build up some more troopers, and then we would send them to another angle, and we would just use that to pick apart our opponent. But this is just the AI, so there's not going to be much of that. So let's jump into the recorded games that I've got planned for this. And we'll see what these are like. The 30th of August. Yeah, this is alphabetical. Right. I wonder what happened in that. Anyway, this is going to be a game between me and Tony. So so it's on desert as well, that's fine, and there will be rushing from both sides. So I'll keep it on fast, because we're really just focusing on the strategic element of this, right? We sort of know the basics, we know what to do when the resources are there. We covered that in the start of this. Things are always going to vary on these maps just because of how random it can be with the resources, but the basics will sort of remain the same, and I'll talk more about those when we get to them here. So at the start we're just going to be getting our economies up and going, and then we get a carbon, and once the carbon surplus comes out, that's when we whip out the troop centres. You want to always be scouting your opponent, making sure they're not trying anything wild, because it can affect what you're going to do if you're going to be rushing. Because if you found that your opponent was going to be, say, early Mounties, you might have to get that troop centre up a little bit quicker and get some trooper recruits out to defend your power core. If they were going tech level 3, you might want to Mountie them. That's when just building mounted troopers instead, and using them to try and destroy the power core, harass workers, because they're bulky, they have a lot of HP and they're quite fast, so you can use them as a great harassment tool. And when you do build up enough of them, they snowball out of control, and they can just take entire buildings down, and kill troopers as well. I'll slow down a wee bit for just now. So we're both getting our troopers out, we're getting our buildings built. There's a little bit of you know, fuck up array with the fact that we've got to build farms as well with our carbon, so things are a little bit slower and maybe not done in the way that I just showed you, with building 8 troopers and then upgrading them. I think he tanked before me there, so I'm a little bit on the back foot in terms of being defensive, because he's already got 4 troopers out, but he's not sent them over as of yet. You'll notice in these games that a lot of what we do is being preemptive with defences and setting up walls to cover areas of our carbon, because this is normally like the biggest sort of vulnerable area, because you don't have a command centre that you can just hide inside. So you've got to set up walls, potentially you've got to set up turrets. Tony here, he puts his troop centres next to his carbon just to protect it, and he has some farms there as well, because he knows he's always going to have troopers out here. He doesn't expect this position to ever be overrun. He expects a lot of the fighting that we're going to be doing in the centre of the map or in my base, because he seems to be, he's asserting himself as the attacker in this game. I've got my troops sitting here at the sort of the big entry point for my base, which is essentially my farms, because I've got quite a nice defensive arc here. I mean, to get into my carbon, you have to go through my command centre, which will be shooting at you. So I feel quite comfortable to send my troops out as well. I send them there, and we sort of collide in the centre. Trading a few. He backs off because he knows he's going to lose that fight, which he would. And we're going to have to just sort of call it there and build up more troops and look to go again, essentially. So a lot of the big strategic things that happen in these maps are hills. Hills give some sort of buffs. I think it's to range. I don't think it's anything to do with damage. It's more just the troops in the back get to shoot a bit easier just because of the way the elevation works. And that's kind of huge in these lines, because a lot of what you see is it seems spazzing out because they can't quite shoot because they don't have enough range. They have to walk all the way to the sides. And that's another thing that I'll talk about as well with troops, is there's formations in the game that you can set your units to follow for their little AI and the way they position themselves as a group when they're moving. And that's line, stagger, and flank. These actually beat one another. It's sort of a rock, paper, scissors thing. So line beats staggered. So staggered is when you flesh them out to take less AoE damage. Line tends to beat that 100% of the time, really. Stagger beats flank, and flank beats line. So most of what people use is just line. So setting your troops to go into flank is going to push them out to the sides a lot quicker, and those guys in the back are going to shoot a lot quicker. They're not going to have to do a bit of like spazzing around, walking forward to get in there and fire shots. And this is something that is definitely true, does work. I know this because I played tons of scenarios back in the day, one of which was Hero Fest and Trooper Fest, which was just, you had 40 troops at all times, and you were just colliding them with other people, and not a lot of people knew this, and exploited the hell out of that to win games. Because it's a mechanic that people just didn't quite understand. And as you can see, he just lost that fight really convincingly with about the same amount of units because I'm utilising this. It's a very important thing. Now, if everyone knew it, it would get into a point where it's a guessing game and it would get very RNG. But it would certainly be interesting to see if anyone could mind game the other one and taking the wrong sort of formation, because you can just switch it on just before you collide with them, and that's the way that I've managed to hide it most of the times when I've been doing this. Is as soon as the units start to break apart to fight, that's when I would change the formation, and that would change their behaviour substantially. So you can see I've split these up into 2 groups just to put the aggression on after winning that fight. He's had to garrison all his units. He is suffering there. And back at home, we're just going to keep building troopers and send them over. Now, we're almost getting to about the point in time where during all this, you're always building up workers and you're adding on farms, carbon, and you start to build up a surplus where you're actually comfortable to take other resources. So that would be about Nova round about now. And the Nova being the aim that you're going to go to tech level 3 eventually. And you can see that the carbon's really built up as well. We could get the T3 buildings. We could really look to transition into tech level 3 shortly. He's not covered the back of here, so we can actually position, you know, and shoot workers. It can be quite annoying. But he does have this turret, which is quite good. He has this safe spot where he can put extra farms, which is nice, but he's not dealing with these. And he's really falling behind here because he's garrisoning a lot of workers. He's not adding on new farms as much. He just has to be very defensive. And I have sort of carte blanche. I can do what I want at home. I don't need to worry too much. So I'm starting to get that spaceport out. I'm probably just going to sell resources here because I haven't bothered to get the Nova. It's something that you can do as well. But I would prefer that you just go for the Nova there. So we're covering our carbon, putting some walls down. I feel that we've sort of boxed them in. We feel safe. What we're going to look to do is go T3. We're going to upgrade what we've got, really. Maybe get some strike mechs, air out, and just sort of pick him apart with tech that he is not capable of defending as of yet. So what we could have done is build up a ton of troopers and then upgrade them to heavy troopers and crash through that way, but we're just going to look to harass him a bit more and just keep him in his own base so that we can guarantee we get to T3 without him doing any sort of counter-aggression. Because we haven't actually built any turrets. We don't have much troopers at home, but we do have 2 mech factories raring to go. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because there's a few games I want to go through and this is just taking ages. But hopefully I've covered a lot of the basics in this. You can see we're always positioning on top of hills and stuff, so it helps. Even there, like, we just won that just through formations, I think. And then we get the strike mechs to just... He's not going to have enough troopers anymore to, like, one-shot these as well. And he's just going to get picked apart. It's going to spiral out of control. Air will come through. He'll make some anti-air troopers. They'll get shot with these. Like, he can't defend this, and that's the end of that one. So we'll move on to the next one. So once again, desert on the mighty Trade Federation this time. And he's on the Empire. Quite a lot of Rontos in this. EOPs. Decent food. So just have to get the economy going. It's annoying that you can't just jump to T2 in these recorded games like you can with like modern RTSs. I don't think we'll ever have that technology either, will be RBA, but can live and dream, save me a lot of time, and improve the production value significantly. I mean, I could just cut this out and learn to edit videos, but I can't be arsed right now. So we'll just do this in one take. So, I've built 5 farms, unfortunately, when there's about 8 billion Rontos, so that's a bit of a mistake, but oh well. So we'll probably be on the defense here, based on that, because our tech time is going to be a lot slower than our opponents, because he is just eating Rontos. Like, he's already eaten 3, he's on his 4th, we're on our 2nd, just starting our 3rd, so we're kind of behind there. But we'll still get our troop centre up, we'll get our power core out, and we'll look to defend ourselves. So what we're going to want to do is just get the troops out early while we're attacking, just so we've got something there. Then get the second troop centre, just so we can defend this. Early turret as well, because there's no guarantee we hold it with those troops. Pull our workers away, disrupt his AI a little bit with them. Oh, this is so laggy. I'll turn it down a bit, it's just stuttering. I've got an awesome computer as well, like, old games destroy computers. There we go. So we've defended it. We're going to have to get some farms eventually. Why is this game so laggy? God damn. Jesus. Wonder if it's Voobly. Oh, this is shocking. It really doesn't like the playback now. Oh, whoa. Well, that fixed it. It seems it sort of fell behind in its own frames there. So he's able to sit at the top of this hill. This is nasty. Like, you don't really want this in your map spawns, especially not above your own carbon. I think in hindsight you would want to wall this out a little bit, because your opponent can just stand there and just rain terror on you from above. It's a horrible positioning. We've sent troops out to sort of counter him here. We're gonna have to build up some farms. I need to speed this up. I can't live on this speed. It's too slow. A lot of colliding in the middle there, picking off some troopers. I'd say with what I'm doing here is I'm throwing away troops, but I'm also biding time, like buying time as well, because we're not quite set up right. We can't put prefab walls down like you can because we're Trade Federation. I mean, with Trade Federation, you would probably want to be the aggressor at all times. We do have the turret, and we've put like a little light wall there just to stop him standing right in front of it there. It buys us a bit of time, you know, to position our troops around. So he comes in, but now he's put himself in a terrible spot, and he's just going to lose. He's just going to hemorrhage troops here. If he was there, he'd be able to just pull back that way and not get shot at from this angle. So we need to look to clean those up. Apparently we're not. We're just going to go and counter attack now. But we have about the same forces as he does with this. It's tough being TF in the rush game. Shitty light walls to defend yourself. Colliding in the centre, bad angle, getting picked apart, but he is not actually micro. At the end of the day, he does get that side at the top, on the top of the hill. He's got the scout as well taking shots, so he's going to win that. We're going to look to collide with him again. Top of the hill. So there's a lot of trading troopers here. Quite enjoy these games when it's big trooper wars. Sort of a lost art, I guess, because I mean, if you've played any of the games on Voobly with the players that play now, it's mostly going to be go to T3, especially in the team games as well, because it's just not safe to rush, because you'll just get killed. It just sets you too far behind in tech, and you just can't defend yourself. You'd have to rely on others to survive, and that's not really what you want to be doing with disparities in skill levels. But 1v1, perfect strat, great. So we've pushed on him here. It looks like he was doing a little bit of transitioning to T3 there. He's traded forces with me, so he sent his troops round to counter-attack me while I'm attacking him. But then he's sending them back the way? It doesn't feel confident, I guess. He doesn't. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's very indecisive. He's now sitting in the centre of the map. So we're pushing in and like picking off workers as we can. Still building troops at home. Picking off more workers. He's attacking us. Okay, it's spamming it again. God damn, the playback's shit. Don't know if this is RV's double speed feature bugging out a little bit. So he's managed to pick off a lot of our workers in the farm there. And send our troopers back. I don't feel we're in a position where we could go T3. We don't have enough farms, don't have enough food. And I think he's quite close now, because you can see he's getting the mech factory, he's getting the spaceport, he's got the war center. I think he's going to start teching up and then just sort of do the same of what we did last game, where we put the aggression on him and then we look to tech behind it. I am just going to send my troops again. It's quite a crazy onslaught of just sending troops at him. Two little groups there. Look to pick him apart. It's kind of tricky though with the big arc that he's got for his carbon. Like, he doesn't really need turrets as long as his troops are there. It's a perfect defense there. I like that. Even tricky to sit in the corners of the carbon and pick off workers as well. They will need to go there, but I think by the time he needs to go there, it's going to be T3, and this is not going to be a problem for him. Oh, that was bad. Took like 3 shots before we started shooting. Oh no, they're shooting those ones over there. Nonsense. Sending more troopers at him. It's crazy. Done nothing to fix our economy in this game. This is like pure tunnel vision. Like, we make troopers and we send them. That's it. We're a one-purpose droid manufacturer. We only do the one droid, the T2 trooper. Right, he should be on his way to T3, I would have thought. Not quite. God damn, this is a long stalled T2 game. He's fixing his farms though. We're not really doing that. We should be, but we're just not. We need new carbon spots as well. Picking off more troopers, or workers rather. It's just difficult. You can't pick him apart. Well, I could here if I knew about it. Like, very vulnerable there if I knew about that. Cheeky. Still making troopers. I love it. It's wonderful tunnel vision. But it will eventually lose to someone that goes T3 if he just turtles up long enough. Like, we should make a beeline for his carbon and just shoot workers as we go. We're sort of creating a way to pick them apart. But at what cost? We got stuck there because of this wall. I'd just like to see more farms up here, And a new carbon spot there. It's hard though, I feel, yeah, need to be on war. Get extra turrets and stuff, but is that gonna get picked up? Yeah, because they're both on patrol. Throw these in late. Nah, that's the end of it, that, I think. Oh my god, you should just sell carbon. Right. 40 minutes in T2. What is this? This is like the rush taken to the extreme. I kind of just want to move on to the next one. Hurry up and fucking kill me with your T3. It just feels horrible to watch TF like this, right? Just can't have the same defences like prefab shelters. That's 800 HP versus 250. I feel like it's got like some sort of base armour as well. So it's one last attack and then the strike mechs are going to come flying at us and that'll be us. Yeah, I'm going to move on from this. This is over. There's too much tunnel vision on the troopers. Not enough fixing of the economy. Dragon, very old player. Very good friend. Miss him dearly. Not spoken to him in a very long time. Last I knew he was playing poker semi-professionally. But he was very good at this game back in the day. And he was very good at 1v1s as well. So hopefully we should get a good trooper game out of this one. Got a few games between me and him that we'll have a look at. So as you can see, pulling the Rontos, just getting in there, getting that economy going. Desert as usual. Bit of Rancors kicking about. I think there's only a couple of lurable animals this one, so we'll have to get farming just after the carbon processors, just to keep the food flowing and get to tech level 2. Prefab shelter carbon processor coming up with him a little bit later than me. Getting the food processor down and we'll get farming. And we should be okay with a bloody rebel food bonus, you know, that you get from farming. So there's the farms going down. Absolutely shocking where that one was placed. Absolutely tilted. What a perfect square around the command centre. SimCity. His aren't looking much better. Wonderful. Some ghetto farming going down. Imagine once we get the farms going, we're hitting about that sweet spike of 250 to 300 food. There comes the troop centre. And we will get a power core just after that. Go to T2 as well. Is he doing the same? Not so much. He's got 2 carbon sites. That is a bit mad. Very exposed there. Well, getting our upgrades and then we're just going to send the troopers and rally them over. We're sending it over just sort of near his carbon. Hoping to skip him. He's got his scout out there to watch because he's a little bit behind. He has intercepted these troops though. That's good for him because that evens things out for him now. So he's bought himself quite a bit of time and he can start walling this off to keep this area safe. But then he can enjoy the sort of economic benefit of having these 2 sites. Be good as well if he gets some pressure on him. And I'm not aware of the other one. You know, he might lose these guys mining while there's troopers there to be dealt with, but he's still got these guys bringing in resources as well. So I think we went pretty hard on the early trooper rush because we thought we had them there, but not so much as we lost those troopers. They got intercepted, so we'll need to rebuild some of these farms. Need to get some prefab shelters, etc. He's going to pick off a worker here. I think we've got a bit more troopers than him here, like maybe 3 or 4. So it should be an easy sort of fight if we can rout these motherfuckers. Yeah, I quite like the way Daniel builds his bases. Sort of his entry point. Keeps his troops there. This is the sort of exposed side, but it's quite all the way around. You know, you've got to walk through the centre and then go to there. Whereas we're quite contained within ourselves here. It's easy enough to defend, but it's not the most economic, right? Because we can't just sort of sprawl. And we've missed a Ronto, holy shit. That's a big miss. Maybe that's why we didn't kill him so fast. Doesn't look like he's missed one. That's a huge amount of food to be missing in the early game. So these troops might collide here. Oh, he's attacking us at the same time. We've got the command centre though. We've got a rally point there we can hold. That's not good. They've split up because of these trees. just losing. They actually traded fairly well, to be honest, with how outnumbered they were. The most ambitious flank patrol of my life. So we're sort of just hanging on here, like... I don't really rate our position that we're in here. He's even got his Nova in his little fucking base here. That's great. I really like that. I really like that SimCity. You got the prefabs around just to watch. Great player. As we've just got this car, we've got these 2 turrets. We're fine. We're hanging on. We can't really be killed. What I'd like to see from him is just macro up a bit harder and then just go for the T3. He'd be able to kill us there. We're getting a little bit concerned about maybe troopers standing behind the carbons, so we seem to be able to try to wall that out. This isn't fully walled, but we do have turrets. It's because when these hills interact with these, they muck up the placement of them. You find so many times that people are confident that they've walled a side, and then your troopers just slide through some tiny gap, like bloody spiders through a wall. So he's pushing in again. He doesn't seem to have any ambition of going T3, he just wants the troop. I can respect that. That's the troop life. We've not been building a lot of troopers at the moment. I'm not sure what we're saving our resources for, because it doesn't look like we're going T3. I think we're just being absolutely bad at the game right now. Not sure when this game was, probably like 2013 or something. Managed to trade quite well there. I think we were quite outnumbered. But we did talk about the patrolling earlier in this, I think. So replacing troopers again. We only seem to be doing that once we've lost troopers. We're getting a 3rd troop centre. So it looks like we're going all out. Oh, and Daniel's got a 3rd troop centre as well, so... It's the troop life for us. This is just terrible. Like, this is so exposed. I hate this. I'd really like to see this incorporated and then walled, and then we could wall here, and then we've got this nice arc, we've got the Nova, but, you know, hindsight. So we decide to go here, then we're going to find the Ronto, probably whinge about it. Yeah. I know me too well. You got to do that though, right? If you feel you're behind in a game, you got to say, look, I missed the Ronto, right? It's not that you're better than me. It's not that you're kicking my ass. I missed the fucking Ronto. So we're going to collide here in the centre of the map. He's got an entire other line there in his platoon. It's not going to go well. Both even on upgrades. We should trade okay because we know about flank patrol, but not the best. Yeah, he's still got about... He's probably got 1 or 2 more than I had there still. So we're going to have to really turtle up here. Just eat the bloody Ronto. It's 400 food. We do have the 3 troop centres and home advantage. Pull these together. Come on, lads. It's coming in. What I would normally be doing, tend to start doing about this time, was I started to shoot farms when I couldn't get workers. Because that in itself was denying people about 50 carbon apiece when they needed to pump out troopers. And of course, you know, they don't have the farm to just send them back to. It's pretty frustrating, because there's not really anything you could do to stop it if you didn't have the troops to take the fight. So it's just guaranteed damage. Because otherwise what you might spend your time doing is just dancing between point A to point B, but you're not actually getting any damage done either, because they just respond in time as well. Don't really see a way out of this. Yeah, that's that. So we lost that one by falling behind there. Not building enough troops. That was just pure macro from us. So I'll jump into the next one. I like these games with Dan though, because very focused on what we're talking about today, which is T2 Russian. Basically just troopers. We'll see what happens in this one. Got a couple of banthas to eat. Get that food going. He's really in a hole there. That is horrible. That is just pain. Well, that's me. God damn, I'm in pain. That's true suffering. The carbon's up there, but it's on a hill and there's a cliff in the way, and there's that. He's got that nice flip. Why is his Ora and Nova right next to it? That's just strange. He's got this, that's nice. I like that. And that, yeah. Can respect that. So we're going to have to be farming here once we eat these banthas. Not much else that can be done here. If only crate dragons were huntable. A few EOPs, but that's just not going to be worth it. Like, look where they are. The travel time would just render them useless. So he's going to be on the farms as well. A little bit later than me. I think he's pretty rusty at this point. He's only like come back for a little bit, playing some games. Because he took a huge break when it died. Like back when Age of Empires 3 came out and Zone closed. But he was always good at it. He played it a ton when he was a kid, so. Getting these farms down. Bite the bullet and. Not sure where I want to put my carbon. I don't have enough to. That's stress right there. Sending them over to build a carbon processor, but you don't have enough. You still need more farms. Yeah. Right, it's time. I'm gonna need another prefab shelter in a second as well. I feel like these kind of food starts are the hardest to play. Especially for newer players. Because you get baited a little bit by having 2 banthas for food. At least with the no food one, you know where you're at, right? You gotta just get farms. But it's just finding the right balances of when to take a carbon processor. Because you want to evade having an idle command center. Because that's just inefficient. Like, that's better than everything, regardless of when you place certain buildings. Like, extra workers is the pure income. So it's all looking good now. We've got the farms down, got the carbon going. He's done the same. He's going to have the much better wall off. He's going to feel a lot more confident than me, I think, in attacking. Based on this and being attacked on a base like this, because we've talked about the elevation before earlier in the video. Like, having hills around your base it's really difficult to engage. Because you could always have the threat that you've got your troops there. You could attack here, you could attack there, and then if they engage you and try to clear you from that, you're going to be at an advantage because of the elevation range that's giving your guys in the back. So troop center coming down, same for him, his is up a little bit quicker. T2, power core, let's go. Probably the same from him. No, he's not T2 yet, he's a little bit behind, about 50 food behind. They've got one more farm than him. No, maybe not, that's about the same. I think we just started farming earlier. I need to do 12, 11. Oh, I do have one more farm. No. Getting the troops out. I want to upgrade them. There we go. Annoyingly, with this kind of start, this is when your first farms expire as well, when you're trying to throw out troopers. And you got to find that balance. So, as I said, it's very difficult for newer players to get this right. Like, there were times where you'd still have trees kicking about, and I would just take those workers and I'd have them on the carbon, on the like trees surrounding the command center for a little bit. And then I slowly phase them back in, but I want to keep making troopers as much as I can. You also want to get the upgrades. So we're colliding with forces here. Again, we fucked up at the start. So that home advantage, because you get more troopers out by that point. If you collide with them, you just lose them, and then you get counter-attacked. And then you're on the back foot for a bit. It's a bit frustrating. So got both these. He likes his 2 carbon spots. Can respect that. He does these walls off. He likes to push and just like keep building walls all around, just to limit the defense. We never really used the ore walls. Just, I don't know. We've just never done that. We've always like prefab walls. Kind of like having the ore there as money in the bank. Like things get dicey, we want to throw down 2 turrets, because if we don't, and someone strolls in, then that's just the end. You lose your carbon, that's it. Because you can't make any troopers. You can't replace your farms. The lifeblood of the GBG economy. So we're just stacking troopers as much as we can. I think what we're looking for is just a big flank patrol, smash his troops, win the game. That's exactly what I'm thinking. We're waiting for him to push on us, and then we're just going to hunt him down and kill them. And then look to counter-attack, because you won't be able to replace that fast enough. And with the amount that I'm expecting to win this with as well. That Nova is pissing me off though. You can see we're going right round behind him, and I'm just going to patrol into him. I'm confident I can win that. And look at that. Look at the way that they position themselves. They scatter out to the sides, and then they shoot. They just form arcs and shoot. And look at the surplus we have. A lot of people do not understand this. I imagine they probably know how this works in Age of Empires, because I think they've got the same sort of formations. Because that game's really fleshed out, right? So you see, he's got to put turrets down just to hold this position. Otherwise, I just look for that fight, and then with my reinforcements, I would just push in and overwhelm him. But he's gonna have a really nice wall off. So we're just gonna have to group as much troopers together as we can again. Getting a 3rd troop center. We're just really going for it. Not too sure if this one was played after the last one. Kind of feels like it is with the way that we're playing it. I'm not even getting the war center. Not yet, anyway. Probably would have been a better choice with how much troops we've got, because if you upgrade that, right, that's huge gains to the army. He's gonna have +1, but I know about patrolling, so I'll probably win this. Yeah, look at that, like 6 died instantly, 6-1. This is mental. Like, all you're doing in trooping is just fighting the AI of your own troops. Look at that. Like, they just don't know what to shoot. Massacre. If you didn't understand this, when you looked at this and you're like, I've got upgrades, how is he winning these? Like, it would bamboozle you. But again, we can't really push in because of the bloody turret. But we are getting very far ahead here. So the natural progression in a situation like this would be to go to T3 and I think upgrade the troopers in this instance. Get the range, get the heavy trooper upgrade. We're on to the Nova now. Sentry post just for a bit of vision. To ore a little bit, second carbon spot. Feel quite confident that he's not going to attack us. Just because we're sitting out here. We want to fight him because we keep winning these fights. Come on, fight me. We've got the upgrades now as well. We're looking really good here. Now we're housed. Spaceport. We're going to look for T3. There we go. I don't think he's going to be anywhere close, is he? No, not at all. Because he just keeps hemorrhaging troops, right? And we've got the same amount of probably putting half the investment. I mean, I did treat patrol flanking as one of the secrets I'd take to the grave, but I don't really play as much, and I'm here to give you guys tips and elevate your own games, and hopefully, if there is still a community left in a couple of years, you know, the skill level of that is higher. Oh my god, don't do that. Yeah, just fucking stupid patrol there. I think we've made the decision, like, we're T3, why are we fighting this man in T2 with troops when we could just upgrade them? So that's what we'll do. And we can throw in some strike mechs, get some fighters in there as well, and yeah, we'll just pump this. And we'll have such a surplus that I won't be too worried about a turret, because we'll have enough HP to just walk through and take down the power core, kill workers and farms. And this as well, I can nag at him and force him to start making strike mechs here. I can also use this as vision, you know, to see above my army here. And that helps you make good decisions, because we've got range as well, so just knowing where his forces are. Just absolutely nag at him and pick them off, slowly but surely. GG. Which you can do that. Do a few more. Like, this is going to end up a very long video, but I don't really give a shit. I quite enjoy casting these. Okay. So I'm in the top position. Oh, there's a lot of food on this one. Three, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's about 16 nerfs. Little lure. Should be good. Don't know if you want the Mountie on this one. Oh my god. Oh! My eyes! Why is this happening? Oh, that's just barbaric. Oh. Thank God there's banthas. Lesser men would quit right there. It's fine. It's fine. We can keep making workers. It's all good. It's all good. What a lazy bastard with a food processor. Anyway, let's speed up. I try and cut these videos down a little bit. I don't want you having to watch them for hours on end just to get the same sort of points. But I mean, we all know the same sort of stuff if we've watched a few of mine, like how the early game goes, what we would be doing. This is interesting though. Forward troop center. The idea here is that in the early sort of stages, if we're trooping one another, this might end up a contestable area where I really want these EOPs. So I'll make the. But we're also making Mounties. Oh, that's fine. And he's also T3ing. Okay, well, scratch that. That was the thought process behind that, but this has turned out a little bit different than what this video is focused on. But we'll go with it. That'll probably be the next one, because it is a big part of early rushing as well, is the Mountie rush. So consider this an introduction. And yes, this is a viable response to a T3. Probably one of the better ones, but the idea with Mounties is that they're just food and Nova, so it's easy to get out 4 at the start as well, if you haven't got your basic training. They have a lot of hit points. They do decent enough damage to workers, like they sort of nag at them, you know. It's more making them like leave and go to other places and garrison and stuff, and because these guys got hit points, the command center doesn't really kill them that fast. Once you get enough of them, they're a threat because they can actually, you know, just burn buildings down, and especially the power core, which is what you would need to protect in a T3 situation, because you need to get the strike mechs out to deal with these. What I like to do when I defend this is, you know, put like a turret maybe between my carbon and my command center to cover both, but make sure that the turret's covered by the command center, because it can't shoot units that are right next to it until it has an upgrade. So you could just burn it down with a Mountie if it wasn't in range. So he's going to want to get this up and get to T3, probably keep repairing it. He should really be trying to wall it out a bit at the same time, but it looks like he's intent on just repairing and hoping the command center kills these. But if we keep making Mounties, it will eventually snowball. It takes so long to kill them. We've got the scout there tanking shots. And now he's not garrisoning, or he's not gathering resources there. And we've now got about 5 of these, which should be enough to kill the power core. Oh, he's going for the hard repair. I don't know why we did that. I think if we stayed hitting that power core, we would have killed it. Unless I'm hoping he burns all his resources constantly repairing. I'm not sure. Because that would be big brain. Because he's not gathering carbon, right? Wouldn't be able to. He's thrown out another mech factory. How much carbon does this man have? He still has 200. God damn. So still got a lot of the Mounties here. Still eating those EOPs, getting farms down slowly but surely. He's going to have to get these strikes out, and he's going to have to micro his heart out. Because what I'll do with these Mounties is I will take one at a time and just task them on top of the strike max. Because that's always the threat. Every time they stop to shoot, they'll take some damage. See, I split them up onto them. And usually I just kill them. Like, you need about 3 or 4, and you need to pull them all the way, like arc to arc to arc, like that. Just so many Mounties, it's just it just snowballs out of control. So we're back onto the power core again. Brought a crate dragon with us. He's in the gang. So he's defended it. He's made it to T3. He's got his power core, but it's not like we were T2 rushing, right? So T2 we would be out of this, but we've got Mounties, and Mounties can be upgraded. And when they're upgraded, they're pretty bloody strong. And if I've got enough of them, I should be able to just overwhelm the strikes. If he made this a air base, I think he'd be in a better spot. I mean, if he scouted, he should have scored. Like, that's probably harder to scout though, because it's right next to that. It's not typically with my base. Power core still going. The crate dragon has finally fallen. Rest in peace, my son. Probably killed quite a few strikes here. I mean, we're just sort of all in on this. Like, we're not really doing much else with our economy. But it's not a bad spot to be in, really. You can't transition out of this. Should really throw down a war centre. We've got a 3rd troop centre. Now we've finished eating these. That's bloody annoying, by the way. Fuck you. Oh my god, we missed so much food. What am I doing? Maybe I'm blind drunk. I don't know. I did have a tendency to play quite drunk. That's just shocking. 2 fucking Rontos and a dewback. Doing well for it though. That's fine. He's got the turret up. I should have just done this in T2 because he's ended up doing it anyway. Like, I think if you get Mountie rushed, you should always put the turret down. Normally, as I said, I'd want it there, but he hasn't walled this, right? So it's bloody contested endlessly, so it is an okay spot for it. The reason that I'm always sitting here is because I want to camp these. I don't want him to get up that critical mass of strikes where he can actually out-micro my forces. Now he's got the turret up, he's very likely to get that if he repairs this one as well. Yeah, we're going to have to stop rallying. It's probably about now. I should send the command and send these back the way, I would hope. Yeah. Now it's time to take stock, build up a huge amount of them, upgrade them, and try to take the fight and just win it like that. I'd say we're much better off economy-wise though. He's not got his counter harass yet. See, we can get these out so much faster than him because they're just so cheap based on what our economy is now. Nothing to us. God, I'm still in tech level 1. What a man. God damn. Why am I still in T1? Oh, that's crazy. This is the tunnel vision. This is the true tunnel vision. When you decide you're just dying to this rush. Get on top of them there. It's not microed properly. Oh. That was a good trade. Let's bought us a lot of time. Really need to get to T2, for God's sake. Got like 6 workers on carbon. And I've still got 1,000. God. Give them a new carbon processor at least. This is the strike police. You can't have more than 0 strikes at a time. How am I still tech level 1? Oh, all he has to do is get some air. That's it. Can he afford it though? No. God, no. You could just wall this as well. Maybe he just doesn't want to. I don't know. It's got the ore, yeah? Just wall it. Put a wall around it. Even a light wall would help. Oh my god, we're going to T2, right. We're going to tech level 2. Do those. Getting trooper upgrade, am I? Okay. Heavy mounted trooper, there we go. Give me a war center. Thank you. About to find out who wins the strike mechs. Or the Tauntaun boys. The heavy Tauntaun boys. Look like they got shades on. Deal with it. Here we go. Basic armor first. Manufacture it. Yeah, we're gonna want to just jump straight to T3. Oh, here we go. So many dying. Oh, but they're getting split up. Hitting them on different ones. Yes! Victorious. Going straight to that base, making a beeline. I smell blood. I'm making more mounties. You will die by mountie. Kill a nursery. Threaten the strikes. Split them up onto each one. Make it near impossible to micro. And then just cause mayhem. Just throw more in. Just keep going. We don't need to go T3. T2 only. And that's it. Oh, I just didn't click demo loop. Anyway, I'm going to stop it there. I might do the other games in like a second video because it's going to get too long. Because I've got the other half an hour of this video to sort of combine this with as well. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a little bit about rushing. What we can actually do with it. I think in the next series I'll go over mountie rushes. Because there's a few variations of that. Why that's good. Where that's applicable. And then we'll maybe just talk about like T3 as a concept as well after that. Maybe redo T4 again as well. There is a video for T4, but that's more like a economically focused T4 where you don't brick yourself as a player and can actually contribute to your team past making air. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Definitely check out RVA's recorded game site from the start there as well. You should be able to find videos for yourself to watch as well and break down yourself. Okay, wish you all the best. Take care. Bye bye.